Welcome to Living Piano TV. I'm your host, Robert Estrin, and it's a pleasure to bring you the third of a three-part series today, You Can Improvise. That's right, you. You know, I'm lucky enough to have grown up in a musical household. In fact, my father, Morton Estrin, is a concert pianist. He was my teacher, and many other great pianists studied with him. And I have an interesting story for you. I'll never forget this time. I was in college at this point, going to conservatory, and I was home visiting, and it was somebody's birthday, and we had a bunch of people in my father's studio, and there was a certain woman there who had graduated from Juilliard in piano performance. She was actually doing graduate work in piano performance, so a very fine pianist, as you might imagine. And since it was a birthday, my father said, "Oh, why don't you?" I won't mention the name just in case they're watching. Why don't you go play Happy Birthday? And she broke out into a sweat and she said, "What note does it start on?" She had no idea how to play the simplest tune by ear. And this might seem like an isolated event, but you'd be surprised at how few classical musicians are comfortable with improvisation. So how do you approach improvisation? You know, if you're a jazz player or a pop, you improvise anyway, and I've met more players who are incredibly accomplished and delightful to listen to, who are very humble because they say, "Oh, I don't really read," but they can do things that a lot of the schooled musicians can't do, which is just to have fun with it, to make something up. And anybody can do that in one way or another. I remember as a kid, I didn't have the harmonic language, but I loved to improvise, so I'd use the piano as a percussion instrument, just, you know, trying to build textures. You can even get inside the piano and get all sorts of sounds out of the instrument. So, the thing is, if you want to do something more coherent and more accessible, let's say, you don't have to be very highly skilled to be able to do that. In fact, something I love to do when I have a young child, maybe they've never played piano at all, they might be 4 or 5 years old, and I'll say, "Here, come here," and I'll have them sit on the bench next to me, and I'll go on the left hand, and I'll whisper in their ear, "Play only the black keys." Why? Because black keys all sound good together. So if I play something with black keys, it's not too hard to sound pretty good. And you can play with other musicians just doing the black keys. Interestingly, right in the middle of playing the black keys with a young person like that, I'll whisper white keys, and then I'll usually go some 2-chord progression where any of the diatonic notes of the C major scale will work. And this is what I want to impress upon you right now, is that the secret of improvisation oftentimes is just knowing which notes to choose from. And this could be accomplished in a couple of ways, but primarily knowing your key signatures. For example, since the white keys all sound good together, you could play something like this, a 1-7, which is a C major 7th chord, to a 2-7, and then make up notes in the right hand. It's much easier if you have other musicians to work with. So somebody could be down here comping, as they call it, a C major chord, a D minor chord. Then the person on top just needs to play a melody. Much easier to improvise with other musicians. But that's just C major. If you're comfortable with all your key signatures, you could do the same thing in D major. Just a D major 7th chord. Start simple. Interestingly, it will be the left hand that will be difficult for you, not the right hand. The melody part, you probably, being a musician, will come up with all kinds of interesting melodies. You might surprise yourself. But it's keeping the left hand in rhythm that is the big challenge, not letting the right hand destroy the continuity of the left hand. So I suggest 3 things. Number 1, start with simple things like pentatonic, that is black keys. Enjoy it for a while. Then go through diatonic chords. What are diatonic chords? That simply is building chords on the scale. So in C major, it's playing every other note of a C major scale. C, leave out the D, go to E, leave out the F, go to G, leave out the A, play B, and then go up to, starting on D. Same thing. You can play all it, not just the 1-7 and the 2-7, you can play all of them. Get comfortable playing within a key. Once your C major is comfortable, go to F or G major and then work through your keys. And you can have fun with this. But the real fun comes in playing with other musicians. Don't be afraid. Your friends will enjoy it and you'll get something out of it. And you may just really be shocked at the music that comes out if you just let yourself go. That's it. This is kind of a primer for improvisation. There's much further you can go naturally. Blues is a lot of fun. A blues progression is basically a bunch of 7th chords, dominant 7th chords. And I guess, I don't know if I have a blog on blues. I should do one for you. It's basically a 12-bar progression, and you can have a lot of fun with it because anybody who knows that 12-bar progression, and it is a universal language around the world, you can jam with them. And so it's a simple progression, another subject for another living piano, living TV. So I look forward to all of you next time. I welcome suggestions for future broadcasts. It's great having you. I'll see you next time. This is the third part of a 3-part series, how to practice, how to memorize, and how to sight read, and now how to improvise. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time on Living Piano TV. Bye-bye.